I'm going to try to climb a mulberry today. I've climbed this one before. It's a short, squat little tree, almost as wide as it is tall. I don't think mulberry is the strongest wood in the world, but there's plenty of places to move around and play around up there. This is a good tree to practice in when you're testing out new systems. You can test them at low altitude. Let's go for a climb today. This is what my equipment looks like usually when I unpack at the base of a tree. I've got my camera equipment here, miscellaneous hardware and software in the red stuff sack. I've got my lanyard here, my saddle, rope bag, that's a tarp style bag with my rope inside, and some climbing systems already assembled inside that bag. I have my trusty Black Diamond trekking poles and my Black Diamond Mercury 65 backpack. I'll haul everything in. Forgot to mention my helmet too. That's a Black Diamond also. Not sponsored by Black Diamond, but they're welcome to sponsor me if they'd like. Okay, well, I've climbed this mulberry before, and I have it bookmarked with some paracord and just a cheap link here from the hardware store. This is on private property, so I don't mind doing this. If you climb trees often, this would be a good option if you don't want to mess with throw line every time. A lot of the trees that you see in my video are tagged like this if they're on private property. I wouldn't do this on public lands, but it saves a little bit of time if you know you're going to climb it again. There's a good sized branch up there that I'm going to try to pull it over here. Just going real simple today. That's just an alpine butterfly. I'm going to use the rope as a pull down itself. Sometimes simple is better. I'm going to climb with a Ropetech Hitchhiker today. This is the Ropetech Hitchhiker 2. It's a great device. Really like it. It is a little heavy. I have a video on the Ropetech Hitchhiker, the original one, on my channel. I usually try to do 5 wraps, and the first wrap should go towards the spline. I have kind of a long lead there on that press-it cord. I could cut that press-it cord shorter. I just like having that little extra bit to fiddle around with different style knots. I do like to cinch this up a lot. You can do a variety of stopper knots here. I'll just do a simple one here. It's always worked good for me. So this is an optional piece, helps you tend it. Some people like it, some people don't. If you're using your hitchhiker in doubled rope, this might get in the way. You can always remove it. I also like to add a pulley at the bottom just to help tend. And there we go. All set up. I recently got a new CT foot ascender. This is the RIT version. It's really compact compared to the old CMI one that I had. The old CMI one is still going strong. I just wanted something a little more compact. This one weighs a little bit less. Maybe I'll show them side by side later on once I get back home. It does have a nice tab here to release it quickly off your foot. I did mess around with the adjustment of the straps, and I think I have it right. So we'll give it a little try today. It is light, and the form factor is really small. Much easier to stand in a tight crotch with one of these on your foot instead of the CMI. This is something else I've been playing around with. I got the idea for this little lanyard storage device from trebuzz.com. There was some discussion there by some members. This is actually part of a electrical cord organizer. I think the brand name is called Gecko Toes. It's used to store electrical cord. It's much longer usually. I cut it roughly in half and then kind of tied it onto my saddle there on the left hand side. I wanted something to kind of organize my lanyard when I'm in the tree, so I don't have big loops of rope underneath of me. I do like longer lanyards, so here's my lanyard on my D-ring, and then I've got several loops of rope through it. It's real easy to kind of snap in and out, which is nice. You can store 2, maybe even 3 legs of rope in one section of the storage device there. Not a big fan of the color, so Gecko Toes, if you're watching, come out with one of these, but make it smaller and make it black. But it's really nice. I noticed too that you can even clip a carabiner in here with some ease if you really wanted to. So I'm kind of hopeful for that. I'm not sure if I need all these storage bays. I may wind up cutting another piece of this off. I think there was originally like 8 or 9 sections. I chose to keep about 4 or 5 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. I may cut this down a little bit, maybe just to 3 sections. But it would be nice if you were going to store a really long lanyard, or you could even store some of your climbing rope here. but I thought it was kind of neat to play with. You can get these gecko toes for $12 shipped from eBay, I think. I'll go ahead and put on my chest harness here. It's just a DMM sling, twisted a couple times, put it around my back, and girth hitch it. And it works pretty good for tending the Hitchhiker or any other SRT device. This part swivels. I don't know if you can see that or not. This rope storage bag has a little bag and tarp attached to it. And, it's kind of nice to dump your gear out in there, whatever your hardware and software is. It gives you a spot to kind of root through it and decide what you're going to take. I think I'll take one of these pressics today, the ring. I might take the Captain Hook just for fun. Might need a throw weight, so I'll take that. Redirect sling, I'm going to take that with me. My foot ascender, I'm going to take that, or my knee ascender. It's a homemade knee ascender. Okay. I'll take this quickie too. My quickie right here if I'm using it. I notice a lot of guys do this. Right on your D-ring, you can clip into it, of course. It seems to be right there at the ready. You don't really notice it when it's hanging. Seems like a good spot for it. Been playing around with the adjustment of this. It's just big enough I can slip it on. The big thing is that the strap that goes underneath your foot is adjusted as small as you can get it. That'll keep the foot ascender low on your boot. If you don't, the foot ascender will have a tendency to ride up. It's also important to kind of hook it behind your heel if you have a type of boot that has a defined heel like that. And adjust it tighter than you think it should be. I have noticed that the catch on this CT is a little bit lower profile, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's a little bit harder to get it undone in the tree. The CMI had one that sat proud and you could grab it a little bit easier. I do have another climbing system attached to the other end of this rope. I just unclipped it. Sometimes I'll take this with me on my saddle. I think today I'm just going to leave it on the ground and I can pull it up if I want it. A lot of times I use these leather cambium savers. I've also used the conduit savers. I had a friend make me one that's really awesome. I started playing around with a friction saver. They're certainly a little more fiddly. This is a homemade one. It does partially open because of this revolver. Carabiner / pulley. This isn't girth hitched. This is an old ring from, I'm not sure who makes this here, but you can open it. So I kind of made my own webbing sling with a water knot. I think this is a water knot, and then just made a little retrieval key. This is a kind of a fairly large key ring that's a heavy duty. You can't bend it. With some throw line, and that will catch this and allow me to return this to me. I may play around with that in the tree today, so I'm going to bring it with me. Okay, I'm going to work on getting suited up here. I'm going to swap out my regular glasses for these mesh glasses. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. They don't fog up. They don't give you UV protection, but they do knock down bright sun. I've already stepped into my saddle here. Sure the leg straps are right. I am running 2 bridges. This is Turfel Burger Platinum. It's a 10.5 millimeter. It's great for rope bridges. I have 2 sets of bridges here running through the same hole. That gives me this large hole here for connections. Got 2 swivels. Really like this Camp gyro. Can't say enough good about it. It's a great little swivel. I wish they'd come out with a 4-prong swivel. Maybe they will. And my old Petzl swivel is still on there with a lot of options for connections. I do like to wear gloves. Somebody mentioned to me that they like to climb barehanded. That's good too, whatever you prefer. One thing I was going to point out is these sleeves. These are made by Buff. They come down. They're independent of your shirt. They offer UV protection. They're usually sold kind of in the fishing aisles sometimes. Brand name is Buff, B-U-F-F. Really like them. You can strip them off easily, put them on. They're warm. Great way to layer. I gotta remember to bring my water. It's easy to forget that and get in the tree and realize you're really thirsty. I've got some extra batteries already. I might take this tripod just in case. Okay, I think we're ready to climb. Sun's loose. Okay, here's my climbing system. A little bit fiddly to get that all connected there, but you can do it. Ooh, give this anchor point a good test. It's good and solid. You can see that stretched out that hitchhiker a little bit, the hitch cord on it. That usually improves the performance. Sometimes after you do that, you do have to tighten it up. I wouldn't be surprised if I have to tighten this up. Let's give it a shot. It's just really a lot smaller. See how that rode up a little bit? I think I'll have to probably tighten that up again. Part of the new fun with the new gear, I think I need to tighten this strap up a little bit. I'm not going very far, so running a Neos under is kind of silly. Let's do this. pretty good trick. I don't know if just can't reach anything out. You don't want to lean. You can kind of do a rope lasso trick. I'm sure you guys have seen that one before. Be on this side. You can see why I wanted it on this side. And loosen this up. Pretty solid. Brought my handsaw. I want to try to get my lanyard under control now. Sweet. This is another purchase I made in the last 6 or 8 months. It's a Cmi Webbing Swing, but each of these loops is fully rated. I think Sterling makes a version of this also. It's about 40, 42, 44 inches long, a little shy of 4 feet. I find it's really easy for redirects. Well, at least redirects that you know that you're going to have to go back and retrieve. So you can take it and really kind of configure it however you want. I love how tight you can get it cinched. It seems like you can always find a spot to cinch it. And I'd like to have full use of my lanyard, so I'm going to just redirect my line from below. That's redirected to that sling and biner and still tied in below me there, if you can see it. That way, if you're kind of running light in a tree, you can switch your weight over to your SRT system and get your lanyard back. Got that big loop here. Kind of manage that quickly. You could certainly put a pulley in there. I think I might try to slip over there and fiddle around a little bit. I know I'm going to have to come back here, so that doesn't really matter. See, this is still tied in. That's my original tie-in point there. I've got the dilemma of this thing. You can see I need to get my climbing line on the other side of that. Alright, so I'll go ahead and tie in over here. You can see, since I have this system set up, my line is crossing. And sometimes it even gets crossed over your other system if you're still tied in. Instead of disconnecting anything, sometimes you can just take this loop, throw it over your head, and hopefully you're in the clear then. You can see that camp gyro is just doing its thing right now. Allows each system to kind of orient correctly. Really love the fact that you can kind of spin each system and get it right where you want it. That was really smart. I would have put a pressic back here to help me return to that. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. This is ice tail. I love ice tail. I don't really like it for a primary hitch cord, but if you want to set a prusik on a rope, either for rigging or just kind of set it and forget it, and not worry about it slipping or fiddling with it to get it to bite. Ice tail just always bites consistently. Actually bites too much sometimes, and that's why I really don't like it for a primary hitch cord. But for something like this, it's just so soft and pliable. It's like Tenex by Samson, but just tougher. I didn't bring up an extra pulley. I usually have one. Just going to go ahead and set a quickie in here. I'll put the rope tail through that. It's not a long way to go over there, as you can see, but it would be nice to have that mechanical advantage. I can kind of set that over there and just kind of forget about it, and I know that ice tail will grab. And if I just remember to take this with me. Gotta remember to bring that tail with you. So that would allow you to go kind of out this way. It's another example of where those swivels come in handy. You can duck under your system. And you can still get everything oriented how you would prefer it to be. I really should have brought my saw. I'm wondering if I could get that over there. No splice or anything on here. By golly, I think it worked. Another good example where swivels come in handy. So I've got a 3-to-1 to get back to that tie-in point, and I'm using that tail as the hook line here. So I still have another system on the other end of that green rope down there that I could always pull up. And then I have my lanyard deployed too. So make sure my ropes are okay here. See how much mechanical advantage that's going to give me to get back there. I really wish I would have brought my handsaw. So I've got a little bit of lanyard left here. So I got my tie-in point here, my redirected tie-in point, my original tie-in point, and now my hook line for positioning. That would allow me to get over here pretty easily. And this is just kind of a study. I mean, you could scamper over there and you don't even need to use the hook line, but this is just a Petzl Basic. This is, I think, Generation 1 Petzl Basic. This is an Isc Pulley. It's carriage bolted on to the Basic. I get a lot of questions about this. It does put quite a bit of force on the pulley on one plate, so keep that in mind. They're easy to make. So I'm nearly there. Actually, it would be beneficial to let some of this out.
See?
see now that I have that pre-sick up there, that ring, and the quickie, I can get back up to that really quickly. So this is the friction saver I've been messing around with. I can set it over here. Alright, so once you have the friction saver set, the spliced end goes through the small ring first, and then through the large ring, or a carabiner revolver in this case. And that is a doubled rope or moving rope system through a friction saver. I found what I really like about it is it gives you a good range of motion, and also it takes your tie-in point a little bit away from maybe like a complicated crotch like this, where you would have your doubled rope system maybe moving against another one of the limbs as you move back and forth. You can see this gives you a good bit of clearance away from the tree and keeps your friction to a minimum. So now I'm kind of back in the middle of the tree. I still have my friction saver over there, moving rope system, single rope system, redirected from the original tie-in point up through redirect up there that I do have to go and get. And I have a little mechanical advantage set up with a pre-sick and a quickie to get back to that. And I think I'm going to go up there right now, take a break and have some water and enjoy the view. You can see I don't have to tend this with my chest harness because as I pull on this tail, it tends the device automatically. Another good reason why I like to use a pulley down here, makes this smoother. You can see I got back here with not a lot of effort, and that ice tail is just rock solid once it bites, and it always bites. You can also move this down with you. Okay, I'm going to retrieve this friction saver out here. To do that, you have to have some way to catch that small ring. The revolver's acting as the big ring, and that black ring is the small ring. To do this, you have to slack the system. I've tied in here and here twice. You can unhook your carabiner. And you can take this retrieval key. And this is homemade, you don't have to buy anything. You can go to the hardware store and make one for whatever they charge you for this key ring. And so when I let this go, in theory, this eye and this ring will pull through that carabiner revolver and catch on the black ring and pull the works out to me. Hopefully. That's what you hope for. So here we go. And you get the whole works back to you. How do you change your GoPro batteries in the tree? Very carefully. Take out my lanyard. Try not to get hit by it. And store that away on the proper side that I prefer.